Hey, what's up, guys? A huge Badgers basketball target is heading to Madison in a couple days. We're going to talk about who he is, why he fits so well in the system, and break down his game a little bit more on today's show.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's good, everybody? I am Ryan Herrings, your host of Locked On Badgers. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get YouTube, podcasts. We're all over the place, and we're continuing to grow, continuing to build the community. Really appreciate everyone coming out, listening to the show, wherever you may find it. We're going to get right into it. We've been talking a lot of football, right, which makes sense. The official visits have been coming. There's been multiple commitments, new coach. So there's a lot that's been happening on the football side. But this is a football, basketball, Wisconsin show. And I've really been wanting to get into more basketball stuff as some of the recruiting things have happened. We have a big State of the Union basketball show coming up that I'm really excited about. I think you guys are going to like. So on today's show, there's a really big commit, or potential commit, obviously a non-committed prospect coming to Madison on the 20th. Gehrig Normand, 6'6", 175-pound 2-3. He's either a shooting guard or a small forward. I think he's more of a small forward, but he could definitely be a shooting guard. Coming out of North Richland Hills, Texas, a town kind of in northernish Texas with about 60,000 people. I say that for no real reason other than to throw it out there because I was doing some research. But yeah, he's coming in on the 20th. I want to talk about his game a little bit and why I think he would be such a good pickup for Greg Gard and the Badgers. So, watching his film, this is an offensively talented, really, really skilled player for a high school kid. He's a 23 kid, so a class of 2023. So he'd be coming in this class, joining John Blackwell, Gus Yalden. He's a 6'6" guy who's thick. Like he's got a really good build. He uses it in the game. But there's just a ton of nuance, and there's a ton to his game at the high school film. Like when you watch the highlights, he wins in a lot of ways, right? So he can drive left, right. I saw him finish at the rim, left hand, right hand. I saw a drive, stop, and pop from the mid-range and bang like a little 12-footer, which is a really hard shot to bang. Tons of threes, the ability to shoot in transition, ability to shoot up a pin-down screen. They ran a lot of action for him that I was watching, coming off a screen, curling, catching. And he really has the ability to get a lot of tough shots. Part of that's his frame, right? He's a 6'6" guy. So he's a bigger high school player, and he uses that frame to shoot over players, to create space, to get off tough shots that aren't necessarily as tough when you're 6'6", right? The hand in the face isn't quite in the eyes anymore when you're 6'6", you can elevate a little bit. Like I said, the frame is good. He's big. He's not really, really skinny, and he uses that physicality as well in his game. Definitely a guy who, again, looks like he can score in a lot of ways, which is similar to John Blackwell. It's similar to Gus Yalden. And it's kind of a theme on this recruiting class. Greg Gard going out and finding skilled players that can shoot. And it's always been kind of a Wisconsin thing, right? Finding the skilled players who can shoot. And this, Gehrig Normand fits right into that. But he's got a little more bounce than some of the guys we brought in as well. I wouldn't call him a great athlete. I don't think he's a great run and jump athlete. But he's definitely an above average athlete. We saw, just watching the film, again, saw some really nice highlight plays, him driving into transition, dunking over somebody. He has a play where he catches a reverse alley-oop and almost finishes it on somebody. A couple two-handed slams in transition. He definitely has the ability to elevate, get above the rim, finish in contact, finish in the paint. So an above average athlete, but the offensive skill around it is really good. So another guy like Gus Yalden, like John Blackwell, that can shoot the three, and the variety on his shots I thought was really impressive. When I say the variety on his shots, I'm talking about the 3-point shot specifically. He had a couple plays where he caught it off a curl, like basically took a dribble handoff, curled around, and shot right away, somebody in his face. Pull up in transition, taking a cut, sprinting out to the corner, catching it off a kind of a ping pass, shooting right away, no hesitation, quick shot, quick release, high release. I like a lot of the mechanics of the jump shot. I like his ability to get it off of someone in his face. I like his ability to shoot it off the dribble, off the bounce. These are all things that will translate to the college level. And aside from that, again, I saw him drive left hand, right hand. He's a righty, but he used the left hand. He used the left hand on some really tough finishes. And the other thing I talk about, and I think it's similar again to John Blackwell, who also has a lot of offensive versatility. He's a guy who shows the ability to hit mid-range shots. Blackwell does. So does Normand. And he had a couple plays in particular where he was driving in, absorbed contact, took it into the body. And again, I'm talking about he has a big frame. So he's a big framed kid, kind of a stronger kid. He hit the defender with his body, absorbed the contact, still finished with his offhand. And that play was a left-handed finish off the glass. You know, he showed a lot of touch around the rim, little floaters, switching hands in air, finishing with the opposite hand, going reverse, going opposite side. You know, I like a lot of the offensive skill. So Gehrig Normand, just to kind of round up the game, and I need to watch more film. I'm just trying to break it down what I've seen so far and give everyone kind of an idea what type of game he's going to bring. To wrap it up, he's a 6'6", 180-pound wing, playing a 2 or 3, pretty good body, can shoot, can drive either hand, finish either hand, score at all 3 levels, pretty good in transition. A good but not great athlete. You know, if I were to think of Badger players and maybe try to comp them to someone, maybe he's got like a little bit of like I'm trying to think, maybe like a Ryan Evans athletic ability, maybe something like that. Maybe that's not a great comp. This is off the top of my head. I should have prepped that one. But he's definitely not a Khalil Iverson type of an athlete that can just yam on anybody. But I think the athleticism is good enough at the college level. So where are we at in his recruitment? Well, he's coming to Madison on the 20th. He's already visited Missouri. He's got an official to Texas. Remember, this is a Texas kid. He's got an official to Texas on the 27th. And that's really all I think that he has on the plate now. I think unless something changes, it's going to be Wisconsin, Missouri, Texas. And from what it sounds like, maybe a Wisconsin-Texas battle. Where does he fit into the Wisconsin scheme, the system, the recruiting class? I think he fits in really well with the way Wisconsin likes to play basketball, with the way Greg Gard likes to play basketball, right? Versatile offensive players, guys who can score at multiple levels, enough size defensively to switch, to be versatile. I don't have any feel. I got to be honest, guys. I have no feel on his defensive game. Like the clips I saw were all AAU clips that really just highlight the offensive side. I have no idea how well he moves his feet. I don't know if he has the intangible give a crap factor that you need to be a great defender, that you need to be a good defender. But I will say this, he has the size and the athletic ability to be a good college defender. Now, if everything else is in place, I don't know. I didn't see a lot of it. But at 6'6", he's going to be able to switch, right? He's going to be able to switch onto 2s, onto 3s, even some smaller 4s that want to play pick and pop. He's going to have that defensive versatility with the size, with the length, with the jumping ability, which again is above average. It's not great, but it's above average. So there's a ton to like here with Gehrig Normand coming in on the 20th. Definitely somebody we want to keep an eye on. I know the coaching staff is trying to add him into this 2023 class. And again, I mentioned it just to go back to the 2023 class. You're bringing in 3 guys who I think offensively are all really skilled. You know, there's nobody in this class coming in that I think is an elite athlete, right? So that probably gets into another question that I think is worth discussing on another show, and I'll mark it down because I think it's interesting. Does the coaching staff too often value high floor, high skilled guys and not take enough lottery tickets on really athletic guys that you have to develop but could be incredible if they hit? I think that's an interesting discussion for another show. But I really like this one. I think he'd be a big-time pickup. He's a high 3, low 4-star guy. He's kind of in that sweet spot for Wisconsin athletics, Wisconsin basketball. So someone to keep an eye on for sure. Gehrig Normand coming in and out of Texas, 6'6", 180-pound wing, and could be a really nice addition to this 2023 basketball recruiting class. Coming up, guys, we have more football official visit news. We're going to talk about a preview, a couple guys we haven't talked about coming in this weekend, a cornerback, a receiver, one of our committed guys coming in for another round of official visits for the football team. We're going to tell you who to watch for and why it's a big deal. First, today's show is brought to you by by Built Bar. By Built Bar. I just ate one today, actually about 30 minutes ago. I had I actually have it in front of me still. It was the Mud Pie, which is a chocolatey, amazing concoction of 100% real chocolate, not a lot of calories, 20 grams of protein. It's awesome. All their flavors are incredible, guys. The puffs is awesome. The birthday cake is awesome. What they've done is they've found a way to give us a healthy alternative for the protein bars that we all really got sick of that are out there. And it's something you throw in your backpack, you go to the gym, you work out, and you feel good eating because you know it's healthy. But you also enjoy it because it just, quite frankly, tastes good. They have built an amazing community because it's, people continue to come back to him. And it's because what they have works. Their product is quite frankly the best protein bar on the market. And if you're interested in having a healthy snack, if you're interested in starting a healthy journey or maintaining a healthy lifestyle, going to the gym, this is the way to do it. Go to Built Bar, go to the website, built.com, promo code LOCKED15, LOCKED15. You're going to get 15% off your order. Try it. You will not regret it. Promo code LOCKED15, 15% off built.com. Thank you guys again for making Locked On Badgers your first listen every day. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I say it all the time. I would like to say it even more. I just don't want to beat the dead horse, but I really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate everybody that listens. The time is the most valuable thing we have in this world. And for anyone to spend a little bit of time with us building this community, listening to the shows, it means a ton to me, guys. So thank you so much again for making this your first listen every day. And we're going to get into more official visits coming up this weekend. So the first guy I want to talk about, Jace Arnold, a really interesting cornerback prospect. And by the way, stop me if you heard this before, but interesting defensive back prospect. This staff has been lining up really high-level defensive backs, athletes, guys that can play in the back end, this entire class. There's a couple that are still out there outstanding, guys like Khalil Tate. We talked about Braden Marshall last show. There's a ton of dudes that really would fit really well in this defensive secondary. And Jace Arnold coming up this weekend is another one. He's a 5'9", 170-pound corner coming out of Florida, Lake Mary, Florida. Or I'm sorry, Marietta, Georgia. I was thinking of another kid up from Florida. Marietta, Georgia, coming in 5'9", 175 pounds. And he's a high 3-star, low 4-star guy, offers from Vanderbilt, Florida, North Carolina. So a really strong offer list. High academic kid, Vanderbilt's in the mix, Wisconsin, obviously. He reminds me actually of Braden Marshall quite a bit. A lot of short area quickness, really breaks on the ball. Again, not the biggest guy. Again, we're talking 5'9". We've seen shorter defensive backs in Wisconsin secondary have a lot of success. Guys like Sojourn Shelton not that long ago. And he's really an explosive short area quickness guy. And you need those. At a minimum, you need that guy in the slot, right? You need that guy who can take the two-way breaks that the elite receivers get in football these days and can really help cover left or right, really take some of that away. And this is a guy who I think with the short area quickness could do a lot of that. Definitely is fast as well. I don't think he has elite burner speed watching him on film, but he definitely looks like a 4.5-ish guy. He's definitely not slow. But it's his short area quickness that really sticks out to me. He's definitely not afraid to come up, stick his nose in there. He'll pop somebody, plays the ball really well. A couple plays where his positioning is just incredible on like deep fades where he knows where the sideline is and he kind of pushes the receiver out. So to me, he looks like a good technique guy with great short area quickness that's just a little undersized. And I think, again, high 3-star coming out of Florida, good offer list. That's really where we need to get the defensive back recruiting to, right? I mean, Wisconsin is not going to be landing a bevy of 4-star guys. But if we can go from that mid 3-star level where we're kind of battling schools like Central Michigan, Northwestern, schools that don't have that pedigree, to getting a high 3-star guy with North Carolina, Florida offers, that's a big deal. It's a big upgrade. He's also a guy with special teams ability. There's a couple plays where it's funny. You watch this film. There's a couple plays where he gets a kick or a punt, and you're like, oh, no, don't return that. And then he takes it all the way across the field and picks up 30 yards. It's those plays where he just out-athletes people, right? And with the special teams ability, you can see he gets up to speed really quickly. He can hit seams. There's several kickoff returns he has. And quite frankly, it would be nice to add some of that back into Wisconsin's bag, because it's been a while since, especially on the kickoff return team, where Wisconsin's had a dangerous guy back there. Obviously, Aaron Cruikshank for just that brief meteor flying across the sky that he was in Madison. But aside from that, it's been a while. We've had a couple decent punt returners, but you really got to go back to like the Alex Ericksons. It's been a minute. So having some special teams explosive ability would be nice to add on to the team. And I really like his short area quickness. I think he'd be a great fit. We'll see how that official visit goes. Coming in is Trech Kekahuna as well. Trech Kekahuna. We talked about him briefly in the last show, but he's really interesting. I want to touch on again. I wanted to point out again that he's coming up this weekend. And the big thing with him is he is that slot receiver. And I don't know how many Wisconsin's going to take this cycle. And I don't think he's not going to commit this. I think he's on commit watch this weekend. So I'm just going to talk about him briefly because we did talk about him just recently as well. But I want to remind everybody that this is a guy coming in that's, I would be very surprised if a commitment either didn't happen this weekend or very shortly after. Just to remind everyone who maybe forgot or didn't listen to the last show, this is a guy who's from Hawaii, same high school as Nick Herbig, same high school as Kamoi Latu, who is the Utah transfer he brought in at safety. So he's a guy who's familiar with Wisconsin. He paid his way to for an unofficial visit to try to earn an offer. He camped at Wisconsin, earned the offer, and immediately scheduled an official visit. That's one of those things where every arrow points to he's committing soon. So if he does, that might be the only slot receiver they take. You know, they also just got Colin Dixon. So I don't know how many receivers Wisconsin plans on taking this cycle. This would be 2. Justin Marshall's a guy that's out there. There's a couple others that are out there that we've talked about. But numbers are going to start getting tight at receiver, especially since we took a pretty big group last year. You know, we took 3 or 4 last year with Brooks, Vinny Anthony, McIntosh, you know, and I think I'm forgetting one off the top of my head, but that might be it for receivers. And it's just interesting to follow the numbers and see where that goes. The other guy coming in is Jaquez Keys. He is committed. He is the running back out of Irontown, Ohio. He's picked up a couple bigger offers since he committed. He had the Michigan offer that, quite frankly, freaked all of us out, freaked out Badger fans a little bit because you don't want to lose a guy like that to Michigan. But it sounds like he's solid. Everything we've seen sounds like he's solid. Big, physical, bruising running back, a guy who looks like he's built to play running back in the Big Ten, right? His film looks like that. His build looks like that. Really excited. I think I'm going to have an opportunity to talk with him soon on an interview. So I'm going to bring all that to you if I can. We're working that in the background. But definitely excited he's going to be on campus as well. And that kind of breaks down this group. The big name is Jace Arnold, obviously the cornerback, you know, a pretty highly rated kid coming in, a lot of athletic ability. Trech is coming in as a potential slot receiver. And then it's always nice to get the committed guys on campus with guys that aren't committed. I think it helps build that vibe, build that atmosphere. They can look to someone else and say, you know, they can look at someone who's their peer, not a coach trying to sell them. They can look at one of their peers who made the decision to come to Madison. I think it's a reassuring thing. And I think I don't have any numbers to back this up, but I imagine official visit weekends go better when you have at least 1 or 2 committed guys there to kind of show them, you know, someone in their peer group, someone at their level that has made that jump and made that decision and decided Madison's the place. So definitely some interesting things to watch out for this weekend. Coming up, a bit of bad news with the football team, and we're going to talk a little bit about how that impacts the depth on the roster. But first, today's show is brought to you by the following sponsors. All right, guys, welcome back. Thank you for making Locked On Badgers your first listen every day. We really appreciate it. Now, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. It's been out there a couple days, but it just stinks. And, you know, I definitely wanted to address it and just say, you know, well, let's just start with the news first before I talk too much about it. Travian Blaylock, it's been confirmed. You know, we knew he was hurt. It was confirmed that he tore his ACL. And that's just such a bummer. So Blaylock is a guy, you know, a veteran safety on a team without a lot of safety depth. And I really thought he was not only going to be a starter this year, but I really thought he was going to be an impact starter. He has big time athletic ability. He's fast, strong, big. He's experienced. And, you know, the dominoes had really cleared out for him to be that dude this year with Hunter Wohler, quite frankly. And it's very unfortunate. You know, he got hurt. Everyone thought it was pretty severe. And then it was confirmed that was an ACL. I think Jesse Temple on Twitter is the one that confirmed that, but it's been out there in a few spots at this point. So, you know, an ACL injury, that's a year rehab. What it does for Travian, I'm not sure. It's certainly possible. And I don't know Travian. I don't know, you know, where he's at and what he wants to do and what his goals are. It's certainly possible he can apply for a medical hardship, get this year back, you know, and continue out with Madison. But you never know. And even though ACLs have become a pretty normal thing, kind of like Tommy John surgery in baseball, the recovery is pretty standard. You also just never know, right? You never know how a player might come back or not come back. And I just imagine the frustration and the just of being in that situation, working so hard for a starting spot, having that opportunity, and then just hurting your knee in the offseason. It's I imagine he's incredibly frustrated, and it just stinks for him. You know, I'd certainly hope all the best for his recovery. And I would love it if, you know, the stars align and he's able to use that medical red shirt to come back, because he is a guy with unique athletic tools and unique size. And he's a guy who could be a difference maker on that back end. And, you know, I was following some of the stuff he was doing on Twitter, working out with skill guys. His workouts look just ridiculous. Like he's a next level athletic looking prospect. And it's just such a bummer that, you know, the knee injury happened. It's been confirmed he's going to be out obviously the entire year. And it's got to be tough for him. But it also, for anyone hoping or there's any lingering hope that he'd be able to come in and continue to help that safety depth, that's kind of confirmation that won't be there. Again, that's a thin spot on the team. So not only do I feel terrible for Travian, like that's the priority. I mean, that's the primary thing, right? I feel terrible for him. That's more important than anything else. But from a football standpoint, safety is one of the shallowest spots on the team. You're really counting on just a couple guys there. Hunter Wohler has to step up. Obviously, the transfer picked up, Kimoy Latu, has to be able to play right away. There's just not a lot of depth there. John Torchio's there. He's a former walk-on, and he's played really well especially considering he's a walk-on. But it's still, that's not much. Austin Brown is coming in. He's a true freshman. Having Blaylock in there would have been enormous for this group. He would have been the most experienced by far safety on the roster. So, yeah, total bummer. Obviously, there's a few new bodies in there. Hopefully, I'm very confident in Jim Leonard to do the best with whatever he has. But if an injury or two strikes, you really get in a scrambling position. So, yeah, totally unfortunate news there. But that's going to wrap up our show. Really appreciate it. I've said it before. I say it again. I will continue saying it. The goal is to build the Badger community. Lots of good shows coming up. I should have, ideally, I think we have an interview coming up with Jacquez Keys, Jordan Mayer as well. I got a surprise guest coming up that I know some people are going to absolutely love, a former Badger podcaster. I think you guys are really going to enjoy that one. That's coming up. We're going to do a football State of the Union, a basketball State of the Union. We got some more countdown shows. So lots and lots of content coming up, guys. I'm going to continue to try to get new voices on the show because, again, that is the point, to build the community. If you like the show, please leave a like, subscribe, review. All of it helps tremendously, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.